This is another Joe Aufricht. This is another Joe Aufricht video, A-U-F-R-I-C-H-T. This is another Joe Aufricht video, A-U-F-R-I-C-H-T. One fan who saw my first YouTube video made only days ago, where I sang Honey with a Chick and Kung Fu Fighting as I did nearly 40 years ago. He was hoping to see a video of the Kindergarten Orgasm Dance with the song. Anyway, that one started out, I made it up as I'm mad 'cause in Kinderia, ha ha, back in the Kinderia, ha ha. 'Cause a couple things or so that happened to me in kindergarten were not very pleasant. But I also had crushes on a couple girls in my class, Lori and Karen, in my first year of kindergarten. They made me repeat, but anyway, I'll get to that. I jack off at home in my room thinking of them, especially after seeing up their dresses, seeing their panties. So I decided to try to make a joke of it all, of my kindergarten 2 years. People often called me Joey from kindergarten on and into adult life, and I'd say to them, come on, you guys, I'm not in kindergarten. And one of my friends I was hanging with back in my 20s said to me, when I told him, he said, why do you always say that? And I said to him, basically, that's something that you say to somebody in kindergarten. My school made me repeat kindergarten for a second year, because they said I didn't have reading readiness and I couldn't hop on one foot. And like I said, there was some unpleasantness in kindergarten. Well, my first year anyway, for sure. One day I was in my own yard with a bunch of other kids, and both my parents were at home at the time, and me and other kids were playing construction workers. I remember Mom coming out saying something like, hey, you guys are working hard. Are you guys making cement? We had a toy wheelbarrow or two, and went in the back, behind the garage, there was a sandbox leaned against the wall, against the back of the garage, sideways with a space to crawl in between the sandbox and the wall of the garage. For some reason, me and this older boy climbed in this gap together. There was room for two. I don't remember why, but we were just little kids. I was about 5 or 6, and I think maybe he was about 7 or 8. Not sure, it was so long ago, but maybe we were pretending it was a break time lunchroom shack or something, I'm not sure. Maybe he talked me into going in the gap opening with him. Well, he ended up either trying to pull my pants down or put his hand in my pants or some shit that freaked me out, and I managed to get away, and I ran to my parents, probably screaming. My mom came out, and after I told her what happened and told the boy to leave and never come back in the yard again. In a separate instance up the street from me, more eventual unpleasantness, there was a new kid my age named Jeff who moved in, and he had 2 older sisters. One of them was about 5 years older than me. Her name was Karen, and I thought she was cute, and so I must have kept staring at her and possibly did things maybe to try to get her attention. There was a couch out in the garage, and her family's garage, and one day she sat down next to me and said, smiling probably, you like me, don't you? And so I was like, yeah, and she nudged up close to me, and I guess it must have felt good, so I think she may have even put her arm around me, and since I couldn't truly actually have her at nighttime, in reality, I had an imaginary Karen there with me, a duplicate of the real one. Some people have said that I have a wild, overactive imagination, but sometimes I even may believe I was her brother snuggling up with her because, 1, I didn't know even the word incest at the time, never heard of it, and 2, since I was an only child with no brothers or sisters, I thought maybe that's what brothers and sisters did with each other, always. I simply didn't know any better and thought only if I was her brother, Jeff, I'd be able to snuggle up with her all the time. I don't remember anything that happened beyond that at that moment, at that particular time, but I certainly, at that age, because of parents' warning of being arrested if I exposed myself in public, certainly would have freaked out had she asked me to strip off my clothes right there. But she would often say to me later on, other days, Joey, go home and get me some money, and I would go home, take a quarter or two from my parents, from my mom's dresser drawer, from her little quarter saver, and take it to her, take it to Karen, and she'd go up the street and come back with popsicles for all of us. Before long, Mom realized what happened, told my dad, and then I was confronted, so I told them, and they got the truth out of me. They went up to the family about this, and the mom of Jeff and his sisters said to her, "What do you mean taking money from a little boy?" This is a true story, by the way. I had to write it on paper, otherwise I might forget all of what I wanted to say. So this is the planned script right here. She got grounded and maybe spanked. Don't remember if I did or not myself. I also remember Karen talked me into letting me hold me up in the air by my legs and walk along on the grass by my hands. They all thought it was funny, although I may have ended up touching a prickly weed and getting hurt. I don't remember. Well, anyway, this is the Kindergarten Orgasm Dance song. In kindergarten I had orgasms. Back in the kinder I had orgasms. Kindery in the kindery. Back in the kinder I had orgasms. In kindery, ha ha ha. Back in the kindery, ha ha. Kindery, in kindery. Back in the kinder, Well, anyway, in 4th grade, I remember making an excuse to a female classmate when she got at me for acting funny, and I said, "I'm mad because something happened to me in kindergarten that I didn't like, or that wasn't very pleasant," not realizing that she'd be saying, "What?" And of course, I was too embarrassed to say. Well, anyway, that's the Kindergarten Orgasm Dance for you. Well, anyway, also, Moonpants. Moony, moony, moon pants. Ejaculate in your moon pants. What are moon pants? Pants like the astronauts wore to the moon. Well, see, when I was little, Mom used to say to me, "Joe, you gotta go. We're gonna have to ship you off." And I said, "Where?" And she said, "To the moon." And I said, "Well, what kind of pants are those that I'd have to wear if I went to the moon?" And she said, "Moon pants." The first time I'm like, "Oh no, don't send me to the moon. There's no bathrooms on the moon. You have to go in your moon pants. And you can't take your moon suit off anyway." Yeah, she said she was just kidding. But anyway, on the way to school in my repeat year kindergarten, there was this one girl. I looked up her dress and she had underwear with little stars and moons on it. And I think I might have sang to her, "Moony moon pants, squirting your moon pants." And I think she said, "You're nuts." But, there is this other one where I go, "How dare you, you made me ejaculate in my pants. For I was only in junior high school. I was too young to fall in love and have sex." It started out as the Jolly Green Giant coming upon a town of little people, getting horny and wanting to rape the little people. And sometimes I would go, I did that one time in St. Ed's one. And fellow students said to me, I was 17 at the time, he said to me, "You're a strange kid, Joe Aufricht." What else is there? I did some of this on my audio recordings. I went, "Rebels launch away." Rebels launch away. There's this Rolling Stones song called "Give Me Shelter." In one part it says Red Bull lost its way. I thought it was Rebels launch away, and later on I thought of fat perverted rebels. like from the Civil War, or horny perverted rebels launching cannons and shooting them. How about a horny perverted Johnny Reb who comes home from the Civil War and forces a short skinny chick into bed with him? That's supposed to be scary, by the way. There's another one I've been meaning to do. Dang me, they ought to take a rope and hang me high from the highest tree. Woman, would you wait for me? Boop, 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 boop. What? I'm strumming the air guitar. If you say to skin flute, that means you're jealous of my happiness and you're trying to seize it away from me. There's another one. I used to want to make fun of kids with short haircuts who take theology. Stick my finger in my ear to point how short their hair is, grab my balls. This is to show their hypocrisy. In the summertime, when the weather is high, you can jump right up and touch the sky. Theology. Hey, I should be able to make fun of them and still have them for friends. I always wanted to do this in a bar. I'd probably get killed for it. When you drink a lot of alcohol and you have to piss. Tavern, liquor, piss. Tavern, piss. Tavern, liquor, piss. Tavern, liquor, piss. I used to blurt out. This girl I sat behind back in grade school, I blurted out, "I've got brown sockies on." And she bent down and looked, she goes, "Those aren't brown sockies." Or I'd say, of the United States, of the United States. I'm gonna get mad at the United States. And she turned around and looked and she said, "Why are you gonna get mad at the United States?" Well, I wasn't used to having my songs and my chants that I made up questioned, because I lived at home and I was an only child. I didn't have brothers and sisters to question me. Although sometimes I would portray the voice of a character on TV. One time I saw an episode of The Munsters with Herman Munster wearing a bow tie, and it reminded me of Huckleberry Hound's bow tie, a cartoon character from my time, and it looked very much like Huckleberry Hound's tie, and I sometimes called Huckleberry Hound Huck Booey, so I started chanting, "I'm wearing Huck Booey's tie. I'm wearing Huck Booey's tie." And Mom looked at me and she said, "You're wearing Huck Booey's tie." And I didn't know how to explain that I was portraying the voice of a character. I wasn't wearing Huck